Welcome to Geeks Corner. I'm Mr. Daft.
I'm Katie.
And tonight we are joined by our Disney historian extraordinaire and all-around good guy, Doug Marsh.
Hello, hello. It's so nice to be here live and in person.
Is this the first time since before the before time?
Since the before time.
Before time. I think it may be.
I think the last time you were here in person was before that thing we don't talk about.
Yeah, I think it was the desk was on the other side of this
I
room.
think
Yeah.
the desk was over there.
I think that
Yeah, you
brick
were.
wall was.
I think
from
we
a
were.
different
To your
angle.
left.
I think we were doing this.
That is true.
That's
It was
right.
Party
That is
Gras.
true.
It was the Party Gras episode.
And let's see how good they are. What was the name of that crew? Starts with E. Extremely Secret Royal Eternal Fraternal Order of
The Armadillos.
the Armadillos. Very, you got
All I
it.
was- yeah.
See there, she remembers.
That's
And
so smart.
also one of the best musical groups that ever has been at
She
Disneyland.
remembers them.
That's the part I remember more than actually the little hand signal.
You also remember the Party Gras song really well. The parade.
I do. But tonight we are going to be talking about Toontown, past and present, which is a lot of fun. But before we do that, we have a new segment on Geeks Corner because hopefully you like it. At least we do. And that is, what is it? What's on Mr. Daft's desk?
What's on Mr. Daft's desk?
And this week, we were going to show it last week, but it's still accurate. It's kind of a cute story. And this is kind of a cute story. If you have not read this book, I highly suggest. You've read it, right, Doug?
I have a signed copy of it.
Okay, that's even better.
Really?
That's even better.
That's wonderful.
But it is it's actually a ton of cute stories that are lined together, I guess, to show this entire cute story. And we meant to show it on the Dapsies last week, and there was so much going on and craziness that it sat on the desk that we weren't really sitting at. So that is what I'm reading this week. And if you haven't read it, I highly suggest it. It is charming. It is cute. It is very personal.
Whimsical.
And yeah, it's just,
Very rolly.
yes. Do you have anything to add to that, Doug? Since
Well,
you
also, this is the overtly wholesome
Yes.
version of Rolly's story. Because, as you know, Rolly was a man of many accomplishments, some of which are a bit startling to Disney fans. I'll just leave it at that.
But, you know, this is probably a different show or episode than tonight. But I think there's something to be said for going and showing the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
I think you need the whole story because that's really what makes Disney Disney. Like whether it's Walt, whether it's any of the old Imagineers or animators and all of those stories, like the not perfectly polished stories are really what make them magical to me. All right. Today is a very special day.
It is.
Today, you thought we were going to only talk about Toontown,
No.
but there's more than tunes happening on Geeks Corner tonight. Because today is World Puppetry Day.
Yeah.
And I just said that like, what's his name? The old Tom Brokaw. As I said puppetry,
Today
it was
is
like
World Puppetry Day.
Puppetry Day. Wasn't it kind of a Tom Brokaw thing? Okay.
A little brokosh.
A little Brokash. Not brokish, but Brokaw-ish. Doug's sound is echoing. That doesn't surprise me. We'll figure that out. But
What do you mean?
that might just be an exciting part of tonight. We will see. But we have reached out to our interns, and thanks to Harry Larry, we have a message for you on World Puppetry Day. So enjoy this.
Happy World Puppetry Day, everybody! And on this very illustrious day, I would just like to take a minute to remind you that the map behind me is about Disney California Adventure on its opening day. And I would also like to remind you, as I go in and out of focus, there we go, that Disney California Adventure had puppets, and we love them. Anyway, have a fantastic World Puppetry Day, and never forget that puppets make people happy. And I love puppets, and Mr. Daps loves penguins, which is why we all have jobs. Thank you, puppets, and thank you, penguins, and everybody else. Well, I don't really know, but it's a good day for puppets and penguins.
For puppets and penguins.
It is why we all have a job, though.
Yes, and oh, look who's here. Hello there. This is Ed Raffle Paint. This is actually a puppet that I created when I was in high school back in 19...
I was about to ask, are we allowed to ask what year?
You can ask.
Okay.
Right, Ed? Absolutely. You can ask me anything. I was saying that long before there was such a thing even as a Reddit.
AMA!
AMA! But what is it you wanted to know? Well, what I wanted to tell everyone is I found out something else that Mr. Daps and I have in common that is just unbelievably geeky.
Unbelievably.
Yes, it is unbelievably geeky. In fact, I'm going to tell them myself. Mr. Daps and Doug here both engaged in competitive puppetry when they were in high school. And yes, that is a thing. Thank you, Ed, for revealing.
Did we both win?
Deep, dark secrets. You bet. In fact,
Okay.
I was going to bring ribbons with me tonight. I know where the ribbons are. You do? Yes, I do. You don't keep them in the trunk where you keep me. No, I don't do that. One thing that's gratifying is my son actually one day discovered my little suitcase full of puppets. And the puppets, you all got new lives, didn't you? That's right, you did. In fact, you had to replace one of my eyes. And I was very happy to do that. Anyway, thank you, Ed, for participating in World Global Puppetry Day. It's my pleasure. Okay.
But that's not the only kind of a puppet.
Oh, there's all kinds.
There's that kind of a puppet. There's Muppet type puppets, and there's other kinds too, right, Doug?
Oh, are you?
I am. I'm giving you that
Where is it? There it is.
segue
Right there. Okay.
because it's a very cool and geeky.
Talk amongst yourselves.
I also was a puppeteer.
Oh, really? Maybe you can operate this guy.
Sure can! I do
see
hand
this is-
puppetry.
There you go. Yeah, I put him against me. Here, this is as you can see, this is Darth Vader as a marionette, and
That was
and
good.
there are no strings on me.
Amazing. Now we just need Luke Skywalker also, and we could have.
So,
Actually, wouldn't that be funny? Is to redo like A New Hope or something
with marionettes.
with marionettes.
So,
Like it would be terrible, but
my
funny.
fun thing is that I will say that I was a professional puppeteer because I did get a paycheck for puppeteering.
I mean, that beats us. We never got paid, did we?
I was getting paid
Yeah,
a shiny $11 an hour. And it's also really funny how much my puppetry theater training kicks in is if you bring a puppet out, I will only make eye contact with the puppet.
You know.
Yeah, the puppet is a character.
Well, and
And
honestly,
you speak
that's
to
the
them.
sign of a very good puppeteer also, is years ago I got invited up to Hollywood, and, sorry, Adam, and,
Oh no.
but I got to interview Elmo
Aww.
with Kevin Clash.
Elmo.
Yes, and it was amazing because I went in, being me, I've been in the industry,
In the
whatever.
sphere.
And we got to see, it was for, was it Finding Elmo, Being Elmo, whatever that documentary was. And it was with PBS. It's the only event I've ever done for PBS. But afterwards, we got moments with Elmo to talk with him, interview, whatever, and Kevin Clash. And Kevin's standing there, Elmo's right here. And Kevin would talk, and I would talk to Kevin, and Elmo would talk. And it was amazing how I wasn't even trying. It was ridiculous and one of the coolest things I think I've ever done, and one of my favorite pictures too. But
I got to do the red carpet for The Muppets.
see, I'm jealous.
And they brought
That
the
would have been
cast
amazing.
out, and then they rolled an open limo with Miss Piggy sitting in the back seat, but it kind of went by a little quickly. But then they brought in this little van that rolled along and had all these Muppets sitting in the van. And at my end of the red carpet, which we would call the lowest rung of the ladder
Hey, you know,
section,
we know where we are.
everyone was just agog taking pictures.
Yeah.
So I began calling out, Kermit, Ralph, and it was astounding because all of them shuttled their eye lines straight over to our
Oh,
camera.
very cool.
And I began shouting, the paparazzi questions out to them. My favorite was they did a green carpet for it. So I asked Kermit, is it true that they took a swatch from you to use for the carpet? And then the other one was, my favorite line was Ralph, who had obviously rehearsed this. He says, it's the only time they ever allow me on the carpet. So that was Ralph. But
Fair.
But everyone else was just sort of like, oh, it's the Muppets. And I was like, oh,
No,
it's
this is the Muppets.
I
You
get
talk.
to talk to them. And apparently, and okay, not giving anything away in here, they had monitors inside.
Yeah.
How
And
fun.
they all could see us.
Yep.
And whoever talked, all of those Puppeteer's eye lines went right to that camera. So we have great pictures of all the Muppets looking at us.
I would love to have experienced that from their end, because I just think that would have been a very fascinating thing. And hopefully, if you're watching anybody related to the Muppets at all, we would love to cover as much as we possibly can Muppets Mayhem, and maybe interview some people. Like, they're more than welcome. Like, we'll share space, or we can do virtual too. Like, we can put a second
We're
screen
flexible.
up here. Whatever you want.
I will also say that I will leave you with these 3 things
3.
on World Puppetry Day.
All right, we're counting. 1.
No, so every time where I was a professional puppeteer, we had a retired police officer who would do safety shows with his puppets.
Good.
And every time he would see a new puppeteer, he would always go, 3 rules of puppetry, and then he would quiz them. So rule number 1, you always got to make eye contact with your audience. So that's what we are all doing with you at home right
so you're
now.
saying we're all puppets.
So don't have your puppet looking away. Make eye contact. Rule number 2 is don't bite your words, because when you talk, you got to talk like that, because that is how you naturally talk. And number 3, no matter what, you got to keep the puppet alive. You don't just stand there. You got to look around. You got to react. You got to do things. And so those were the 3 rules of puppetry. Everybody got quizzed
What about
on those
Space Case?
randomly.
Interestingly enough, these were the same 3 rules they gave the lead actress in now I can't think of the name of the
was like,
movie.
I don't know where this is
Twilight.
going. Oh.
Those are the same 3 rules they gave the leading actress of
Keep
Twilight
alive.
just before they made the movie.
I was to say the only one I would add too is don't focus on the sky.
Well, no, that's
think-
what look at the
Oh,
audience
that's the
means.
eye. Okay, there you go.
You gotta.
Okay,
I
fair.
once saw some people who, I don't know why, but every time their puppets would enter or leave the stage, they would flap their jaws madly. It was like,
'cause you have to talk while you're-
and I would watch it. Why are they doing that?
That's an interesting choice.
Yeah, because I was
It was an
puppeteering.
artistic choice.
I was puppeteering over an 8-foot fence, so the making eye contact thing was just a given, because
Otherwise, you're gonna just look
your
at the
wrist
sky.
naturally
That-
wants to look at the sky.
Yep.
So it's literally like you had to angle down type of thing. Kermit's
Speaking of the skies,
skies.
we had one sunny day this month, I think, and that happened to be the soft opening day of Mickey's Toontown, wasn't it?
Not the opening day.
What a brilliant segue.
Thank you.
Because that's what we're really here to talk about.
Not puppets.
You know, we're only 13 minutes into the show.
Talking about puppets is
Almost
more
14.
fun.
But this was a unique thing, particularly for you, because you got to be at the opening and pre-opening of Mickey's Toontown 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And you got to be at the opening and pre-opening of Mickey's Toontown in 2023, which was fun because we got to do together to an extent. And I think what we'll start with first is we'll just go down the line, ladies first. What was your overall first impression of Toontown and then favorite thing in Toontown from this weekend? And then we can also talk about old Toontown later.
First impression. Scary crowds.
Fair.
Favorite thing. Grass. No, the lookout over the wishing tree.
You can see grass from there.
You can see grass. No, I think
You
they're.
see grass from everywhere in Toontown.
Wow, that's an improvement. No, I do think that there is definitely an aspect of comfort of the shade and grass that was not there before, and I think that is one of my favorite things about the reinvented Toontown.
Cool. Doug.
First impression was that they did a really wonderful job of refreshing it, and they addressed one of the big issues that from the very beginning of Toontown's existence, and that is that there was not nearly enough shade.
Yeah.
And they really addressed that, but unfortunately, all of that shade is covering up the brilliance of the design of Toontown. So my first impression was, I really want to get pictures of all this amazing architecture that's been refreshed. I love the little park. I was thinking I was going to really miss that fountain down at the suburban
The
end,
Mickey fountain.
but I love the little park there.
It's so
And
cute.
So nice.
In a weird way, it reminds me of, and if you are a fan of the tram tour at Universal Studios, which I am,
I am.
Colonial Street has that little park
Yeah.
at the end of the cul-de-sac.
I see it.
And then there are houses all the way around.
The Desperate Housewives one, correct?
Right. So no matter which direction you shoot, there's always a park across the street. And now, no matter which direction you look at Donald's boat, you look at Minnie's house, you look at Mickey's garage, there's always a little park in the foreground. And it's very, very charming. I like that very much. My favorite thing there is, hands down, is finding all of the Easter eggs in Engineer Souvenirs.
There's a
I
lot.
got that name right. Engineer Souvenirs.
It's hard to say.
It is.
It didn't start out to be a thing for me, and now it unfortunately has become an obsessive thing for me.
It's fun.
As you will see. By the way, if you've read the article, read it again in a couple of days, because
more.
we're going to do a big update, and there's going to be about a third again as many photos and explanations.
I bought this sweater from that store, and it was very fun to go in there with Doug. Because we were just pointing at things and talking about things. It was a great time.
Yes, you hardly noticed that there was an incredible crowd of people crushing in around you.
You know, I almost didn't.
I feel like it was actually worse during the soft opening when they had, because they had a couple of extra stands in the middle, and so there was fewer people, I think, on Saturday than Sunday, but it felt
In the shop. And actually,
Yeah.
what you don't know, I don't think, is that the attraction went down. And so there were not people exiting in throngs constantly.
Yep.
And so it was not nearly
got a
as
little bit
crowded as
lucky
they've
there.
gotten.
Because there is an exit through the gift shop.
Exit through the gift shop.
that's a smart move.
Hey, I bought a cardigan. I didn't even go in the
It
attraction.
worked. It totally worked.
And I bought these. Can't see them, but I bought them.
I think my reaction walking into the land was how charming it is. Like,
Yeah.
it feels like a neighborhood. In fact, doesn't necessarily fit, but I immediately started thinking about Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Okay.
Like, I don't know exactly what it was, but there was something about it
But-
that reminded me of the opening scene when the little trolley's going in
Who are
and the
the
model.
people
No
in your
trolley.
neighborhood?
No, there's no trolley.
Who are the people?
Who are the people in your neighborhood?
You are the people in my neighborhood.
Us?
And then my
the
favorite
puppets.
thing was seeing the kids play. Like, they were just one hand to the other. Thank you.
I don't have shoelaces, so I cannot. I do have a cardigan though.
We
Oh
are
my gosh, it's me, Mr. Rogers.
My
Wow.
tennis shoes, your cardigan, this guy.
Him. We
Yeah.
are unhinged tonight, ladies.
it's a good night. But no, I loved seeing the kids just playing and having fun. And honestly, it was one of those things, and I wrote it in my article, that was how it's really the place to play. And I loved thinking back to how that connects with the origins of Disneyland. And you hear it's a very common video that's played of Walt Disney, and he's talking about sitting and watching his kid or his girls on the carousel, and that's Daddy's days with the girls. And there ought to be some sort of amusement enterprise where parents and children
can have fun
together. And
Toontown does it well.
and I felt in many ways Toontown nails that thought and that statement better than anywhere else in the resort right now, which surprised me, because is it my favorite land? Probably not. But did I love watching the families having fun together? Absolutely. And
we saw it immediately.
yeah, I mean, you walk in and it's almost impossible to not recognize that. And I mean, it is possible to not recognize it if you're focusing on lines and
Picnic
strollers
baskets.
and picnic baskets and stuff. But I would also say all of those things were part of an equation that showed how much fun families were having in that land. Whether it was having to park a stroller so that your kid could play instead of sit in the stroller, or getting in line for a picnic so your kid can have a picnic with you. Because I did see a family doing that right in front of us as we were walking in.
I was going to say, how surprising was it that so many people not only purchased those little picnic kits,
But
the
had
longest line on opening day was to purchase picnic baskets and blankets
Roger
at
Rabbit?
at
Not
Good
Mickey
Guys.
Minnie's?
Nope.
Yep.
Good Boys Grocery.
Good Boys Grocery.
And then people were. I took one picture. I think I got 3 of them in. There were 5 different picnics set out. And it looked like a big old-fashioned, it almost looked like Pollyanna.
Yeah,
or
it did
something.
actually.
It was extremely charming.
And it kept going throughout the
Yeah.
day. It wasn't like it was just because it was opening time or the first few hours. It was like the afternoon, it was still like that. I don't know about the evening because it was harder to see.
But that's what I find charming is sometimes when you see the lines like that, it's for some popcorn bucket or some sipper, and you see people just carrying those sippers around all day, and you're like, oh, okay. But this, you did see people carrying the picnic basket little hand thing. But you actually saw people doing things with the picnic baskets.
Well, and we even bumped into people in California Adventure later in the day. There was like, oh yeah, we had our picnic in Toontown, and then we came over here. And now we're doing the whatever thing with Carthay Circle and for food and wine. And it was really interesting to see how people really engaged in what the Imagineers and the storytellers had in mind for the land, and it'll be very interesting to see how that develops over the coming months and years.
I'm trying to think, is there any place where there is a lawn in California Adventure?
No.
There used to be down in front of Paradise Bay, but then, they created the World of Color viewing area,
Yeah.
Oh, Doug,
which has planter beds.
do I have news for you? In 2025, the west end of the downtown Disney district will be all lawn.
Okay.
Partially true.
You heard it here first. I heard it's going to be San Francisco myself. But,
Yeah, but no, it was very charming and pleasant to see all of those things happening as I assume the Imagineers hoped they would happen. And I will even say further, there was a point where we kind of had all divided up, and you were over in our little corner saving our bench, and I was like, I'm going to go get some pictures.
in the former Acorn Crawl.
And it was a great place to sit. And I don't think Katie had showed up yet, and Angela was out filming a tour, and I think Murray was on a ride. And so I went up above kind of that, what is it called?
Lookout Point.
Thank you. And there was 4 what I presume Imagineers literally just standing there watching the land unfold and also taking pictures of each other. And so I actually ended up taking a picture of the 4 of them because they were going to do the selfie with 3 people. Like one person holds it and the other 3 in the background. I was like, do you want a picture of all 4 of you? And it was very fun to see their smiles and just people enjoying something they created.
Clocky said to look at the map of DCA 1.0 if there's a lawn. There's not.
Right.
Yeah,
1.0 had
Where?
there were a little bit of lawn
I don't know.
down in front of the Golden State, whatchamacallit. I would say.
So now we take Geeks Corner over.
On the road.
Okay, and this map is so convoluted.
It
I
really
remember
is.
it well. Oh, it's the one from opening day.
Yes, it is.
And there was lawn right down here at Golden State Park.
Yes,
on
yes.
both sides of this, and you could climb up. It was a little tiny concrete amphitheater, and then there was a sloped lawn. I'm totally off camera. And there was a little concrete amphitheater, and there was a sloped lawn on each side of it. And so you could actually get to that lawn. And I remember some kids actually like rolling down.
Which we saw on Sunday also.
You know what's funny?
Kids were rolling around and running around.
Bountiful Valley Farms did not have the lawn.
Well, because it was a farm, not a park.
Anywho, no, we did watch the kids rolling down near the tree, and that was extremely fun because you and I both had this moment of, well, that's what I would have been doing. Like, there was a slope,
Absolutely.
and you would have 100% been like, okay, I'm going to roll down this as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then ran full tilt into one of those big knobby
Yeah.
roots that was sticking
And
out,
kids
right?
were. And they
And
were
they
having
were.
a blast doing it.
And they were having... It was like the kids would bump into the things, and then they would just laugh and laugh and laugh, and they would run up to the start of the hill again, and they would roll back
I did
down.
find it funny because kids were allowed to climb onto those roots, I guess they were.
Right.
But the benches that were 4 feet off to the right, you could not climb on. Which
they had cast members saying, "Do not climb on the benches."
I was very amused because at one point I heard a cast member telling a kid not to climb onto the bench, and I was like, "Huh?"
Well, that is
Because right there.
That is a tree of dreams, Mr. Daft.
Oh, it's the dreams.
The
It'll
dreams
be,
protect us.
but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because it is very counter to everything Disney's been doing the last few years of don't get off the ground, keep your feet on the ground, things like that. Doug, you were here 30 years ago.
I actually have an incredible segue for that. It goes right into this.
Please
30
do.
years ago, kids were climbing on things. And in fact, inside Minnie's house, I came around the corner as cast members were shooing everyone out of Minnie's dressing room because some child had decided, since everything is interactive, I'm going to climb up and sit on the lamp on Minnie's side table.
Oh, wow.
And the lampshade snapped right off, and there was a broken light bulb and broken lampshade pieces, and I have photos of it all. Yes. Yeah, so...
History!
How would you compare opening day 30 years ago versus opening day this weekend, mainly from what was the vibe difference?
Well, I will say this first of all, there's a very strange symmetry for me that took place this weekend. As many of you know, I worked for many years for a very large and very popular website and got to do all kinds of media events and red carpets and things like that. So I became very much, one of those people that people would say, "Oh, it must be so exciting to do this." And you don't want to be mean and say things like, "Yes, it is wonderful and it is exciting," and you go home and you're dead on your feet.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you have to get the story put together and your head is pounding.
How were you feeling yesterday?
But I was feeling fine because you guys, they had to do all the work. All I had to do was just show up and say, "Oh, I'll send out some tweets." But
we're wonderful.
Right. But the symmetry was 30 years ago. That was before I had ever done anything. Well, there was really not an internet.
There was no Disney
It was
blogging.
nascent internet. But anyway, the strange symmetry was that we knew that the park was going to be opening that land, and we had all been given the date, January 26th. It's right here on the button, January 26th. And so we were waiting on that. But on the 24th, they did a big party, and on the 25th they did a big thing for the media to which we were not invited, that we couldn't get in. And here I was 30 years later. I came in on the Saturday before on the off chance that they would have a soft open, and there were all these bristling signs and cast members. It's a private media event to which the public is not invited. And then now you just keep tabs on social media, and I don't know whether you told me or I told you, okay, they did do an official opening ceremony.
I got a tip at about 10 o'clock,
Right.
but yeah.
And so and so, as I say, there was that sort of strange, bittersweet symmetry that I could not go into that, but I was there for the opening.
Well, and I will say there's almost something more special about showing up of your own volition and just doing it. And a freedom that comes with that. And
you can also take pictures of anything you want.
yes,
That
is true.
I actually refer to it as, because sometimes people would say to me, "Are you covering this?" Even when I was with the other site, and I would say to people, "No, I'm here today as a civilian."
Yeah.
And so I did things for over 10 years as a civilian, and I was not. And what happened was I got enlisted because I a friend of a friend thing, and the next thing I knew, I was covering all kinds of things at Disneyland, and it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it immensely. But at the same time, it's nice
to have the freedom.
to go there and have that freedom. Yeah.
I mean, we had a blast on Saturday. I felt like we did. And we were just goofing off, and wherever we wanted to go at any moment, we went and we took pictures, and then you'd make me take a picture with a character, and which that never happens.
Well, you gotta have them,
Yeah.
Because at some point, you never know. You may need a picture. One of those characters may, pass away, and you want to have that memorial photo for. Well,
That's you never know. Yeah. Which one was busier?
Oh, Sunday was busier.
Okay.
Saturday was busy.
Saturday really wasn't that bad.
But it
like I
wasn't- it
feel like
wasn't-
we
yeah.
nailed it on Saturday.
Yeah. They had the media there all morning, and then a big rumor went around that they were going to open the doors at 1:30. And starting around 11 o'clock, we began hanging, I was hanging out by the entrance, and I was sending tabs to this guy over here, It was probably doing things like mowing his lawn and weeding the flower beds and stuff.
Or
Writing,
sitting at a
actually.
Starbucks.
I was writing at
Writing,
Starbucks.
writing,
Yeah.
Okay. But and what was funny is I could tell that the cast members had to do this. They were saying, "Well, I'm sorry, but we're not open to the public today." And it was like, "Look into my eyes. Yeah, come back at 1:30."
Yeah, right?
So by 1:00, all bets were off. They started removing the signs. In fact, I'm sending pictures back, and people started assembling. So I got in, and I got in there, and you saw the video of the first people walking through. Actually, I shot a video before that, but it got very long and tedious because it mostly consisted of people saying, "Don't run when we lower the rope, don't run." And if you want to hear different Disney cast members saying "don't run," I've got the video still in my phone. But walking in,
Magic.
and but now Sunday, I felt it was a rather different vibe. Everyone expected and anticipated it.
Yeah. Sunday felt much more from a guest standpoint. As much as we saw kids playing, like there was 2 people there on Sunday. There was the families that we've been waiting for this to experience it, and we want to have the picnic, we want to play in the park, we want to go on the rides, whatever. And then there was all of the people that were also there to, I'm going to get my photo, I'm going to get my video, I'm going to get my, and granted, we're part of that. And I think we take it a little different than some teams.
I was
like,
there to vibe.
like we're there to have an experience and cover it, like share what we saw. And I think some people definitely had an agenda of like, hey, I want this specific thing to happen, and I want to create.
I'm going to come out and say it. I did have one specific thing that I needed to happen because as a Disneyland influencer, I feel like I was deserving of it.
I'm listening to this.
That was corn dog nuggets.
Oh, the corn dog nuggets.
All I wanted from Toontown's opening day was corn dog nuggets.
Which
and
you
you know
did
what?
get.
I got them.
So let's talk about corn dog nuggets. What did you think of them?
They were corn dog nuggets. Put them at refreshment corner, you cowards. Genuinely.
What did you think of the corn dog nuggets?
They were corn dog nuggets.
Yeah.
I agree completely. They were corn dog nuggets, and
Wow.
they were fine.
Really speaking bravery here. Thank you guys.
But no, I thought it was an interesting thing because there was definitely kind of 2 agendas happening of some people wanting to experience and some people wanting to capture. And
and then there's me.
So I actually responded to someone on Twitter because we sent out a tweet that said the longest line is to get this picnic basket. And I had a little video that showed the line zigzagging back and forth around the fountain and then going across the way, and then all the way down the walkway and out toward where the entrance was.
And I will say it was one of the happier lines you'll ever see.
Yeah.
Like people were happy to be in that
They
line.
said, we're going to get a picnic basket.
And somebody tweeted back to us and said, "I don't get it. I don't get it." And I said, you know what? I think this is something that a lot of people want to do because they know that it is going to be their Instagrammable moment at Toontown. And for a lot of people, this is a thing, and I'm glad that Disney recognized that and made this possible without having, crazy TikTokers rushing up and assaulting the Dapper Dans in the middle of a music set. Instead, they provided a place for you to have your perfect picnic.
And it was fun.
And
It was very fun.
I will say, because I am #1 Toontown grass stan, my internal photo for work use is me lying on the grass in Toontown with my Mickey ears on and a big old smile on my face because I was like, well, yes. So if someone has to professionally contact me, they must first look at a photo of me lying on the grass in Toontown, smiling.
But can you tell it's Toontown from the photo?
No.
Oh.
It was the other direction.
Yeah. So there's trees in the background.
Basically.
It's literally just me
I mean, technically Small World is behind her, but
literally
you can't
napping
tell.
on the grass.
Yeah, but I thought overall for an opening, it was the right atmosphere. It was the right vibe for the land. It was very fun to see that. I actually liked the open Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway, a month and 2 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, because the land was the star of the day.
Right. Otherwise, it would have been that line would have just immediately
definitely.
clogged all of downtown, Toontown, and then out the front entrance.
Yeah.
At
So
Disneyland
I do see
Theater,
the
Small
chat.
World.
Everybody's talking about Pete.
Who?
Pete.
Pete,
Who?
Pete.
the cat if you didn't know.
The giant cat.
Pete the giant cat.
How would you not know that
Oh.
Pete was a cat?
Okay,
Mickey's a mouse, and the guy who makes his life miserable
Antagonizes
is
him.
a
but
Because
are you?
cats chase, and the funny thing is like every cartoon of that era, a lot of them were cats chasing mice.
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, you know, like it happened a lot.
Are you guys aware of the fact that people still think Goofy is a cow?
Now, really?
Yes, really.
I don't know what I
Now,
feel about this.
I would have.
People don't.
Okay, let me ask you. What do you believe Goofy is?
He's a dog.
What do you believe Goofy is?
He's a dog.
Dippy dog.
Okay. Interestingly enough, if you had seen, I actually talked to Bill Farmer about this,
Mm-hmm.
and he said officially, Goofy is a man-dog hybrid.
Well, yeah.
Specifically, he is a Mog, and then in Goofy's voice, he says, "In other words, I am my own best friend." So
Fair.
I'm my
Okay,
own
I'll give
grandpa.
that.
So, but with all due respect, I believe that Goofy is a dog because his
Yeah.
original name was
Dippy dog.
Dippy dog.
Dippy Dog.
Yeah.
With
and,
an AW.
Yeah, but it does lead you on to wonder. Well, then what's the deal with Pluto? Why is Pluto? And years and years ago, Mad Magazine did a wonderful little parody called Darnold Duck, and in it, every now and then you will notice in the corner of the panels is Pluto holding up little signboards. And the little signboards say things like, "Why me? Why must I remain mute? Why, of all the characters here, am I the one who remains nothing more than an animal?"
Poor Pluto.
Don't know.
Because he's a good
Creativity.
dog. He's Mickey's dog, Pluto.
But yes, so I would also not be surprised there are people that did not understand that Mickey's a mouse. You never know.
You'd never
He's
know.
a cat. He's got
So-
little kitty ears.
So Pete was very much the most popular character of the day. He was also out the least amount of the day. Like he'd come out and do 2 circles around the neighborhood and then leave.
He
from
has
what
a
we
family
saw.
to take care of.
And my question is, we have Pete, Donald, Daisy, Minnie, Mickey, Pluto, and Goofy in the land right
And
now.
Clarabelle.
And Clarabelle, thank you. Who would you like to see? Because you both know who I said the other day.
Of course.
Don't think I know who.
Max.
Oh.
Where is Max?
Max should be in the land.
Maybe.
He's at school.
That's why. No, maybe that's
Oh.
why we don't see Pete very often. Maybe Max is tied up in Pete's basement and he has to go back
Guess
That
we'll
and
check
just
on
check
it.
in on
dark.
him every now and then.
Where's
And that's-
Horace?
Horace Collar should
Where
be
is
there.
See, I would put,
Clarabelle
but I
Cow's
would put,
counterpart.
I would put Max before Clarabelle. Like I know Clarabelle is very popular,
Horace?
but so who would you like? And I think I see Scrooge, Ludwig von Drake, nephews Oswald. I think all of those are candidates for people that could eventually, or characters that could show up in Toontown. What is the one character, if you were to choose only one, that you could add as a regular visitor to Toontown?
Visitor or resident of
Visitor.
Toontown?
Because I'm
Visitor.
going to assume the residents are who's there already, and
They
we're
have
stuck.
homes there.
Yeah, they have
Although
homes.
Pete
Doesn't have a
there.
home. It's
Yeah.
somewhere back behind that big wall. So Katie, go ahead first.
Launchpad.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Disneyland Afternoon
Oh my
Avenue.
goodness.
I love that.
Launchpad was there on opening day.
That's true.
You know, I have the
He got
pictures
kicked
I
out
took
by
with the Mickey
Pete.
camera.
Well, Launchpad was.
There you go.
All right, who would you pick, Doug?
That's who's in the
My
helicopters.
goodness. See, I'm just thinking back through all of the characters from long ago.
Webby.
Webigail.
Oh, Webby.
Yeah.
That'd be cute.
Yeah, actually, they
Have we ever seen her in the parks?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Now we did have Gadget.
Yeah,
Gadget was running around. We had the Beagle Boys. They would be a
that
nice
would be
addition.
fun. That would be.
Beagle Boys would be
You
fun.
could do a cute little
Yes.
show with
another one.
that. Go ahead.
I can't believe Bailey didn't say it. Darkwing.
So
Darkwing
I was
Duck.
talking with somebody. In fact, it was our friend Chris. You took a picture of us with. Was it Clarabelle? Who did we take?
Yeah,
it was
I'm pretty sure
Clarabelle.
it was Clarabelle.
And we were talking about how cool it would be if Darkwing came into the land whenever that Darkwing reboot comes out, because that would be such a natural. Like you can
As
do a lot
long
of that.
as there is a sound cue that says "Let's get dangerous."
I would love to see that. I think it'd be very fun if they pulled some of the Disney Afternoon characters and just randomly threw them in.
Well,
and
originally the Disney Afternoon and Roger Rabbit Toontown. Notice no one said Roger Rabbit. How about Jessica Rabbit? Anyway,
Not the scary one.
no, not the scary one from France. She's
Yeah.
from France. They were promoting that because it was Gadget's Go Coaster.
Which
do you
now
know what
it's
the name is?
Chippendale's Gadget Coaster. Is that what it is?
Which I in a tweet response to someone I said, if this is not a Frankenstein name, it's Chippendale's Gadget Coaster, because Chippendale lost their treehouse in Acorn Crawl, and so I guess they moved in with Gadget, and they're now in. And did you also notice the RR Rescue Rangers logos that were sort of discreetly tucked around?
Yes, and that led to me having, and I saw, I think on Twitter or something, the same question, is why are Chippendale, traditional Chippendale, instead of the Rescue Rangers Chippendale in the attraction, when you still have...
Well, the other issue I have is Toontown is based on the 1930s, and it's actually based on Maroon Cartoons' vision of the where toons live, where Marvin Acme has all the toons living because he owns Toontown, and so Chip and Dale, really we need to go even further back, but technically I don't think they go back to the 30s. They definitely are 40s and 50s. And so, because see, when you said who would you want to see, my thought immediately went to the classic cartoons of the 30s.
Okay.
And even back to the late 20s, because as you know, Mickey came on the scene in 1928. And but we have basically the whole ensemble now that we have Pete.
Yeah.
We have the whole ensemble of characters, but you're right, we don't have Horace Horsecollar. Oh, okay. Madame Clara Cluck.
Oh, that would be
that's
fun.
good.
That's a very
She
good
would be fun, and she'd be a sort
And
of
we
a little
just
lovely,
saw her
squashy
at,
character.
was it Festival Holidays?
Was she out?
She was out
She was
recently.
out very recently
She
Yeah.
has been out.
One of the recent festivals, she was out.
because I had not seen her previously.
And
except
I always,
for
Bonkers would be fun.
the
I
last
like
time
that
I had
Clucky.
seen her was at Dancing with Disney.
Not a cartoon
That's a blast from
character,
the past.
but from Walt Disney Comics and Stories.
We just got Thunder, guys.
We just
sure
got
did.
Thunder.
That was fun.
That was nice.
Last week, rain on Geeks Corner. This week.
Oh my god.
The Thunder.
So if we suddenly,
and I was
if we
just about to-
suddenly disconnect.
And I was about to say the words Magica de Spell.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, and
Yeah.
did you see her interacting with Darkwing Duck?
Oh,
That would be fun.
That could be fun.
That
In
would be a
fact,
lot
we
of fun.
could, we need to get some villains in there since, Pete turned into a
Maybe-
suburban dad.
Maybe during Halloween.
We could see.
Like that, there's a lot of good ones.
overlap.
And that's when you could bring Beagle Boys back.
Magica.
I mean, you could also bring back Don Carnage.
Ooh.
And then you could pull
Fat
in the
Cat.
tail. Fat Cat I saw
We
in the...
know that the costumes exist.
Like,
I'm
you
sorry,
could-
the characters are out there.
Yeah, the characters are out there. And you could pull off some of those fun things and bring in some other characters through the years as well. We are in Geeks Corner Plus as of the last 13 minutes. So if you have questions, throw them in.
And
We will answer them. But
And
keep
before
going.
before I forget, the single biggest thing I missed this last weekend. What's up with the Glockenspiel?
What's up with that?
The
Gone.
Glockenspiel. No, it's there. It's
Man.
up on top of
there.
City Hall. All of the
Doing
pieces
what?
appear to be in place. Nothing happening with the
Doing
Glockenspiel. And
nothing.
if
See,
you
that's
don't
why
know
I
what the
said gone.
Glockenspiel is, what are you doing here?
How did you get it?
Yes, how did you get it? The
Just
Glockenspiel
click
is
this
the
link.
device on top of City Hall that used to go berserk every 15 minutes, and then the characters would come bursting through the doors and then go out and greet people.
It
in
was
the lane.
very cute.
Yeah, it was very
Yeah.
charming. And also, I now there are other things that were not yet operating. Like we didn't get to see what
Which
Chippendale's interaction is.
they were
as you-
very upfront about that too. Is like things are still going to come online. So
We were really waiting to see the Dreaming Tree light up and do magical things. And all the
whatever it
silver
does.
lanterns.
Yeah.
So that more to come.
Yeah. And that's going to be fun with the whole thing as well. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. We'll try to hit those. I would love to see Gizmo Duck. Like, I have a hard time envisioning Gizmo Duck in the parks just because of his unicycle thing.
A la Muppet Mobile Labs.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, who's the guy? See, some of these are after my time. Sorry, folks. Also, I wouldn't mind.
Before mine.
I wouldn't mind seeing
Disney Plus.
Cornelius Coote. And who is that? The founder of Duckburg. What's funny is among the hidden things in the Engine Ear souvenirs, I'm doing so good about not saying engineers' toys. Engineers'
It's hard.
souvenirs
It's hard.
It's hard.
is a little cutout that is the statue of Cornelius Coote that used to be in Mickey's Birthday Land when it opened in 1988 in the Magic Kingdom. And do you suppose I found a photo that I had taken
Of course
of
you
it
did.
in my albums at
Nice.
home? I did, and it will now be in the article. And it's not a terribly good photo, but it is a photo of Cornelius Coote. And then I also found the bronze statue of Scrooge McDuck as a fountain. That was also there.
You did find that.
Yeah, I found
That's
that too.
we were talking about that on Saturday too.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we are running out of time, and since there's lightning and thunder happening, we're gonna quit while we're ahead because I would rather end on our terms as opposed to Mother Nature's.
I lost
And
power.
and
like,
I love this because Doug has the opening day maps from 30 years ago at Disneyland and this last weekend. So make sure to stop on by Daft's Magic and check out all of those articles. The quickest way, if you want to read all of Doug's columns, you go to daftsmagic.com, you click on blogs, and then Doug's right there. You can find him. And
Yes.
it's called 30 Years Ago at Disneyland.
30 years ago at Disneyland, and I'm now in the fourth year of
Which it
third year
seems
of
like
content.
just yesterday we started.
We did
but
2020, we did 2021, we did 2022, and now we're in 2023.
Yeah.
Fourth year of content.
wow. Amazing. All right, Katie, what should people do?
Mr. Daft just took half my bit. But go to daftmagic.com, check out all the Disney and Geek news as it happens, subscribe to our mailing list, and from there you can find our Patreon, where we have really fun ideas. There is a video series that may be coming to Patreon sometime soon that may involve how well we can follow directions.
That is true. In fact, if you like Bob Ross, you're going to love this video series. Also, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got a lot of fun videos going up, including videos from Toontown, and very soon we will have a nighttime stroll around Toontown as well. You won't want to miss that, but that is all the time we have for you this week. So we will see you round the corner.
Bye!